Hello, authors and editors. My name is Kristen Iris. I am a developmental and substantive editor, book collaborator, and ghostwriter, and a book coach. And I'm going to talk to you today about book awards and writing awards and what you need to know before you submit to them. The primary value of winning a book award is it is an opportunity to market yourself. So, if you win a well-established and respected book award, then it does help set you apart from others. Now, keep in mind that people have many, many choices when it comes to whose book they're going to buy. So, if they're looking at several books on your topic or in your genre, and yours has won an award, that just gives you that puts you a step above the others. So the reality is we're more apt to purchase those types of books rather than from an unknown or someone who doesn't have that they can talk about. But the other thing is, so that's on one level. But the other thing to think about is the more of those that you do, the more opportunities you have to talk about your book in a different way. So one of the challenges or one of the problems that I see with authors, particularly on Twitter and Instagram, is that it's buy my book, buy my book, buy my book, buy my book. They're not doing anything else they're not doing anything that's interesting. I'll just say it right like that. So if you wrote a book, you put it up on Amazon, and that's it, then it has limited value. And you're only able to say one thing to your audience, and that is, go here and buy my book. Whereas if you are speaking and winning book awards and making higher level lists and doing these other things, then you can mix it up again a bit. So it always comes back to you in your book, but you're not having to say the same thing. So that's a big deal about book awards. And if you are winning those awards, so here's the other problem that I see with some of my clients who have won awards, who have gotten recognition or have been asked to speak at something based on their book, but they're not posting it on Instagram. They don't put it up on their website. They don't draw attention to that. And it might feel weird and icky to self-promote, but I want to reframe your mind a little bit about this, okay? There are people who brag and boast and have nothing to show for it. It's all show and no go kind of thing, or all talk and but nothing else. If you're winning awards, if you're being asked to speak, or if you're pitching yourself to speak and being selected as a speaker, if you're doing these things, volunteering, walking your talk, and being part of the writing community, if you're a fiction author, and even fiction authors, sometimes their books are around a particular topic. So if you're active with those readers and along those topic lines, that's fantastic. That sets you apart. So talk about those things. It's not bragging. It's what we need to know. And as an editor and a ghostwriter, I want to be a long-term strategic partner for my clients. And as I mentioned a bit before, some of my clients are doing these things, but they're not talking about it. So I love to go on to Twitter and LinkedIn and Instagram and all these places and see when one of my clients posts, hey, my book made it. Recently, Etaf Rum's book got selected as the Read with Jenna for the Today Show pick, and then it became a New York Times bestseller. I want to see that stuff. Then I can share those things. When Lori Buchanan's books win awards, I want to be able to share those things. And it's great because several of my clients, when they do win awards, book awards, or, get these extra they get recognized for their work and they post about it, gives me the opportunity to celebrate them and share what they're doing with my audience, my broader audience. So give people a reason to share what you're doing. Most people are not very likely to share over and over and over again some kind of post that just says, hey, here's my book, go out and buy it. There's a lot of books on the market. Many of them are not done well. So there's a distrust there. If you can say that you've won a book award, then, and it's a legitimate book award, which I'm going to get to in a second, then people are more apt to share because they are more apt to attach their brand and their reputation to you if there's some other editorial, some discretion that goes into why someone is saying that this book is worth reading. So that brings me to what you need to know about book awards. And I'm going to post a link in the comments or in the description section below to a blog post that I have that has a list of book awards. Most of these I have looked through and vetted to some degree to say, is this legitimate or not? So what I hope to put together is a trustworthy list for you. If you have information about a book award that you don't feel should be on the list, please let me know, because it's very important to me that I'm only putting forward high quality stuff. So how do you choose the book awards to enter? Now, the thing that you have to understand about book awards is there are many, and there are a couple different levels. So this is changing a little bit, but some you only have access to if you are published through a traditional, one of the big 5 publishers. So it has to be something that's you are nominated by your publisher to participate in this book award. So self-publishing authors, for those types of awards, you don't have access to those. So always look at the criteria to see, can I nominate myself? Do I have to have someone else nominate me? Does that have to be a publisher? Look through all of those things, but just understand that there are going to be some awards that you just, depending on your publishing model, will not have access to. Conversely, the indie book awards, somebody published from the big 5 is not going to submit to independent publishing book award. So they serve different purposes. Okay, so just be aware of that. The second thing is, many of them charge to enter. So this can be disconcerting, and I've heard the word scam used a lot when it comes to book awards that charge people to enter their book in the award. So I have 2 things to say about this. Yes, I think there are scams out there. There are also ones that I don't think are scams, but the price is so high that it's ridiculous. But there's a legitimate reason for the fee. So I have worked as an editor judge for several book awards, and I was the editor judge coordinator for one of those awards a few years ago. So I have firsthand, behind the curtain knowledge of how the process works and what is involved. So what you need to know is that somebody is doing the work to have the website put up, to do the monitoring, the logistics of running a book award. So in my mind, it is perfectly reasonable for the author to pay a nominal fee for just to go to help support the running of that book award. Now, the question becomes, what fee is too much? I have seen some book awards that charge $100, $250, $300 to enter a book. And some of these are from organizations that I like and trust, and I don't have any qualms with how things are being run. Okay, so I want to say that up front. Having said that, that is too much. That tells me that it is a money-making, it is a stream of income for the organization or the person running that book award. And while I don't have a problem with people making money from their efforts, I think that book awards are one of those things that it just gets into some muddy waters when you're doing that. I think book awards are great as a branding thing, as a maybe like break even, or just, make a little bit more that you can keep in the bank in case one year the funding doesn't pan out the way you expect. I personally, that's my personal belief, okay? I think you get into taking advantage of people if the price is too high. So that's what I'm going to say about that. I think the sweet spot is $35 to $50 to enter. And like I said, that's just to cover the logistics stuff. So be prepared to spend some money. And I think that you should allocate marketing dollars to entering your book in book awards, because you can leverage that forever. Advertising on Facebook and Instagram and different things, you do it, it's out, and you cross your fingers and you hope that something good happens from it. But if you have a book award, that's something you can just use. It's perennial, it's evergreen. You can keep reminding people about that, month after month, year after year, posted on your website. So you get a lot of bang for your buck. The other thing, and I mentioned this earlier, is it sets you above other books. Okay, so this goes for fiction and nonfiction authors. The other thing that you need to know is understand the methodology. So if it's a small book award and there are only, let's say they give the top 3, they're saying, hey, we award first, second, and third place, and then we have 5 honorable mentions or something like that. Look into how many people are in, how many contestants they have. So you can go back to the previous year a lot of times and see what the winners were. If you see categories where there's only a first and second place winner and they haven't filled those other slots, that tells you that, well, it could be one of 2 things. One, that they don't have enough entries. So 2 people entered that year. One got the top spot and the other got the second spot. That prize is meaningless then. It doesn't set you apart. So I'm talking about, we want high quality books and it to be a serious competition. So look at the numbers and how are you really going to feel if you enter and there's only 3 entrants and you get third place? Is that really something that you're going to feel like a sense of pride in, and that you feel like you can legitimately put out and say, hey, my book got a third place prize for this? Maybe it is. But people in the industry know what book awards have a great reputation and what don't. So just be careful who you brag to about some of those things, because you could be exposing yourself in a way that you don't intend or you don't know, which is why I've tried to put together a list for you of ones that I have looked into as much as I can, and that have been recommended to me. All right, so those are the main things that you need to know. Allocate money for book awards, definitely enter them. And let me say this too. So for those of you who are writers and don't yet have a book, I highly recommend, and actually I recommend this for everybody, to be writing pieces and submitting them to writers' contests. I have a client who we are looking and pitching her book to literary agents right now. And this is especially for those of you who want to be published by a traditional publisher, picked up by a literary agent. So this client entered a writing contest put on by a very well-respected literary agency in the UK. This is an international contest, and it attracts hundreds and hundreds of writers every year. And she was one of the top listed, she was shortlisted in that prize. That is a big deal. So if you're entering writers contests with your other work also, remember, this is all stuff that you can use for marketing. If you're wanting to pitch to a literary agent, it just gives you more credibility in your area of writing and helps you stand out from your peers. And again, it gives you things to talk about to get the word out about what you do and build your platform. And it gives your strategic partners, your editor, and the other people that you're working with in the publishing industry, something to share about you that also helps spread the word and builds your platform and can increase your book sales. So I'll give you a couple examples of my clients in the description section below. You can go check out their social media feeds, their websites, and then I will also put a link to that blog post in the description. Let me know if you've won any awards, which ones you recommend. Again, let me know if any of the ones on my list are suspect to you and why. And I look forward to reading your comments. And if you have any questions for me, please let me know.